Welcome one, welcome all, welcome to another exciting episode of Games Explained. I am Bridger, and today we're going to be taking a look at a game that I've become addicted to a little bit over the last week or so called Motorsport Manager, and to get us in the mood, let's take a look at the intro video because it's gorgeous.
Studied your tactics.
Well,
anticipated
it would be if we, started from the beginning.
It's the final few seconds before the lights go out, and the race to the podium begins. You know this battle will be won off the track as well as on it. You've studied your tactics, anticipated every move like a grandmaster. You've researched and analyzed, modified and fine-tuned to perfection.
I don't know anything
you have honed your instincts
about
to give you an
motorsport at all, other than what you see in
focused,
popular culture. Like, I've never watched it or anything like that. I've seen movies about it. Like, I saw Ford versus Ferrari, for example, and I was entertained by it, but
epic victory or ultimate failure.
That's some good imagery.
There is only a heartbeat between them. Motorsport Manager. Take control.
And that guy's got a great voice for it, too. All right, let's pop into the game. Because I've been enjoying the hell out of this, and I wanted to share it with people. And it actually came out in 2016, and the only way I learned about it was from a Penny Arcade comic from a couple of days ago, like late March here, 2020. Oh yeah, look, there's a button, run in the background. We don't want it to run in the background. I'm happy with the way it is. So let's take a quick look. I always look at the video settings and everything before when I first jump into a game, so I thought people might want to take a look. It looks gorgeous, especially, by the way, if you get the special enhanced graphics mod that I have in the description. Let me make sure I can see all the chat here. There we go. So definitely check that out. It's on the Nexus Mods site. There's only like 3 or 4 of them for Motorsport Manager because all the other ones use the Workshop, Steam Workshop. But you've got the ability to change your weights and your days and stuff to be more like American or more like, rational, reasonable world people. But since I'm a crappy American, these are the ones that make sense to me. I don't know why. I'm just going to use kilograms and centimeters, though. I'm gonna mix it up. I'm gonna be like the British. We're just gonna mix this up. So nothing super important in these settings. These are useful, and this is a very important screen that you'll probably care a lot more about when you actually get into it. So let's talk about what's going on with this game. You are the manager of a motorsport team, which doesn't sound all that fun, but when I get into it, I get into it. Okay, so you're really primarily deciding where to spend your money. You've got X amount of $1 million. Do you build a test track at your headquarters so that your drivers can improve and your team can build better engines? Do you focus on hiring the best designers to get the best possible parts? Do you focus on getting the best drivers? Did you focus on saving money for next year's car so next year's car can start with a bang? Or do you spend it all this year and try to get first place so you get the big cash prize? Those are the kinds of decisions you'll be making. But because this is about you as a manager, you can hop from team to team. If you do well with one team, but you get a job offer for a better team for next season, maybe you take it. I, however, get really connected to the team that I'm building, and I want to stay with them. So I've actually been sort of playing a create your own team, and I've been trying to work it from the bottom to the top. So there's 3 different series. The top one represents like F1. Oh, we don't care about Steam. Okay, let's unload. There we go. The top series is like a spoof, not a spoof, but it's F1 without the license, right? They don't use the F1 names. They have team names that are kind of the same, but not exactly. So this is where you make your own manager. I think what I like doing here, because I'm not super creative, so we're gonna make this guy, and we're gonna make him look a little bit like Lin-Manuel Miranda, and then he's gonna start a team. So you can choose an existing team that comes in with the game. There's a whole bunch of teams with their own liveries, like colors and things like that, or you can create your own. If you create your own, you're starting from the bottom. You start with basically nothing. You have no special features at your HQ. Your drivers are like the only decent thing about you. You don't have a decent car. You don't have mechanics. You don't have anything. So here's what I was talking about. So you've got this World Motorsport Championship is F1 without the license, and then they created these other two tiers that kind of represent the AAA, the minor leagues of the motorsport situation. I don't know how analogous that is to real life, but if you're starting your own team, you got to start down here at the bottom because you just won't have enough money to compete at the top, at least so far as I can tell. That's for me, that's the case because I'm not good enough at the game yet, maybe. Maybe better players could try to start in the Tier 2. I don't think you can start in Tier 1 with a brand new team, though. So we're starting with a brand new team. We're going to call it Revolutionary Racing. I happened to be listening to Hamilton while I was making my first team, and so that's what I've been using. I do like this blue color. You can then choose the team uniforms. I'm just going to go through this quick. There's a ton of different options, but you don't care about that. You can play through it on your own. You can then choose the livery, which is what your car looks like. And in the base game, they have these different liveries. Like you can see, that's pretty cool patterns, but there's not that many. I think the livery pack is a free DLC because I didn't pay for it. Which gives you some cool stuff. And you can download additional liveries from the Steam Workshop that give you a lot more options. I'm just going to go with a basic one right now because I'm not really going to stick with this for too long. I've got my own campaign that I'm playing. Now, another thing to know, if you are a fan of the motorsport, hello, Dragon. If you are a fan of the motorsport, and you know all the drivers and the F1 teams and the different car manufacturers and things, and you're really into that, there are people that make mods in the Steam Workshop that have painstakingly replicated each season. Starting back when this was made, like 2016, I think is when this came out. So like in 2017, they have these mods that are like, this is all the real F1 teams from the 2017 season, all the drivers, all the companies, etc., etc. And that's all the way up through the 2020 season, which probably isn't happening because of the coronavirus. So the only way to experience the F1 2020 season is with this game through that particular mod. But again, I'm just going to leave these kind of where they are, and we'll jump forward. Now you get to choose, because we're a brand new team, we get to choose sort of our difficulty level, more or less. But not necessarily, because the Golden Tiger gives you a lot more money, but then expects you to do better. We're going to take the middle one, just because, that's just where we're going to start. Middle of the road kind of difficulty. And you can see what we're going to have is a bunch of choices at the beginning with how to spend our money before the first race. We have a car, it sucks. We have a couple of drivers that are decent. They're not that bad usually at the start of these things. And we have to hire a mechanic, a couple of mechanics actually, one for each car. Because we have two cars. It's a team sport, so you got two cars all the time. So here's this guy here. Thomas Winthrop is the chairman of the board of this team, right? So I'm the manager. I don't own this. If you don't do well enough, they fire your ass. And if you do really well, you can get hired by other teams. So here's this guy sending you emails. And here's your assistant that will send you emails about various things. Now, here's the first thing we must decide, right? And the first thing we must decide is how much money do we want and what is our target position as a team. There are 10 teams in the championship, and they'll give us 13 million up front with no expectation that we're going to do super well. But if they give us 16 million, we can come in, they expect us to at least come in 8th. We're promising them we can come into 8th. I'm just going to go with 10th because, I'm feeling a little better about not having that much pressure in the first season. Second season, we can do a lot more because we've had a whole year to build up our car and hire the right drivers and mechanics and things. Here's our initial report. Our drivers are awful. Our designer is awful. Our mechanics are awful. So there's that. We've got a crappy pit crew at the start, too. Look at all these low numbers. Low numbers, bad. Bad numbers. And so you can see, they have a certain mistake percentage and they have a certain things that they are good or better at. I think one is like you or me changing the tires. Like, it's not that, well, it's a little faster than me. or you. But what's weird is when the game starts, it seems like the game is awful at positioning these guys, because this guy here on the front jack, he's terrible at jacking up the front of the car. I don't know how you could be terrible at positioning a jack and hitting a button to jack it up, but whatever. But he's much better at fixing the tires, or swapping the tires and fixing the car, right? If we switch these guys, he's much better at this position. Why wouldn't the game start him there? I don't know. So we're going to try to do some swapping around to find other people. Who else is good at fixing and good at tires? Well, this guy... Oh, we just swapped them. Okay, so we still need another tire person here. Let's do this one, because fixing is one of the things that takes the longest in the pit stop. So I always try to prioritize that. And then... let's see. Tires and refueling. The back two guys are working on tires and refueling. So if we replace one of these guys, it highlights the things that's nice. And actually, the back jack guy is also a 1 and much better at tires and refueling. So we're going to switch those around. This one, let's see. We need somebody who's decent at tires and refueling. Let's do this. And then we need a rear jack person. This person is actually, that's all they're really good for, is they're really good at bringing up the back of the car. This guy, similar situation. Okay, yeah, let's swap here. Okay, so now we've got some much better numbers here, right? Vasquez, not great. That's the weakest link we have. Let's go check and see if we can hire somebody that is better at tires and refueling. Wow, okay, much better options. Ideally, you want a 0% mistake chance. That doesn't mean they'll never make mistakes. It just means that's what it starts at. If they have 0 fatigue, they won't make any mistakes. But as they get more fatigue, they'll make more mistakes. And they are, what do we need? Tires and refueling. It's a 4 and a 3, but not making mistakes is a pretty good deal. 4 and a 2. You know what? Let's take 6 and 7. Let's take the 0.2% mistake. 0.2 is okay. 0.5 is too high. This guy's a little more expensive. He's really good. That's why he's 7,000 instead of whatever. You know, throw in some money at the problem. Let's do that. You'll actually need a bigger pit team because you're going to need to send these guys to rest because reasons. They needed a way to make the pit crew interesting. Otherwise, you just pick the right pit crew and then never change them. So we'll swap these guys out. And then we'll come back here and occasionally hire more pit crew until we have enough to have a full rotation of people that are on for a couple of races and then they recover while other people are on for the rest of the races. So that's the first thing we had to do. Oh, hold on a second. Dog in the room. Okay. So, what's our next decision? Well, we talked about how we have to hire people. Let's take a look at our drivers real quick. Our drivers actually aren't that bad. Gomez and Anthony are like 2.5, 2.1 star drivers. Now, how does the game deal with this? So, let's see. It's telling us that currently Andre Gomez is about a 2.5 star driver out of 5. Now, Gomez is age 22 and has not yet reached his peak as a driver. The older drivers, anybody older than like 28 or 29, I think, has likely hit their peak and has no more potential to improve as a driver. But that's okay. If they're 4.2 stars, that's still a damn good driver, even if they can't improve any further. Now, you can see here, he is improving. That's what the bar across the middle is. He's at 43% of the way towards level 6 braking. And then, 5% of the way towards level 9 cornering and things like that. So you can see that there are certain situations where the background I chose as a manager is also affecting what's going on here. So this guy's pretty good, and he's still improving. He's a kind of young guy, and he hasn't hit his peak yet. If you hover over this and it says driver has peaked, then that's all there is to it. He's also got some traits. Some of them are temporary, some of them are permanent. This one's permanent. It says marketability is plus 30. Now, what's marketability? Well, you got to make money in this game to keep going, and marketability improves the kind of sponsors that you'll get. So we'll take a look at that in a second. What is our other driver here? Faith Anthony. She has peaked. You can see it says her stats have peaked. She's not going to get better per week. So where she is where she's going to be forever, which isn't terrible. There are definitely worse drivers out there. She's also a nice girl. She's nice. And that means that her mechanic relationship is better, her teammate morale is better, and the chairman is happier. And here we've got our reserve driver. Now, our reserve driver hasn't peaked, but he's old enough that he's actually declining because he's a reserve driver. If he wasn't a reserve driver, I don't think this age would be going down because he'd be getting experience. But as a reserve driver, it's expected that he's not actually gaining any experience here. But if you have him race during the practice run, this will go away and he'll be able to gain experience during the practice runs. And your main drivers don't care if the reserve races during the practice runs, as long as they get to race during the actual race. So, okay, we've got some good drivers. We don't need to hire new drivers for the first year. We'll look into better drivers for the next year because we need to spend our money where it's going to matter, which is in our design and mechanics team. Look at this. They're terrible. So, okay, we'll go to staff and we'll start scouting a new designer. So the problem here is that all the best designers are already taken by people in the Tier 1 league, right? That's a problem. So we're going to keep scrolling down until we can find a designer. Here's one. Vasily Sokolev, Russian. He's a 3-star designer. That's not terrible. And more importantly, he is not currently assigned to any team. He doesn't have a contract with any team. See, if we wanted, for example, this Callum Hamilton, he's a 3-star designer, but he's got potential to reach more than that. You can see that's what these little outlines mean. That means his potential is he could be a 5-star designer eventually. And he's continuing to grow until he hits his peak, which is, we can tell, is currently at that 5-star situation. Problem is, we can't hire him without paying, let's see, $500,000 to buy out his contract with his current team. He also might not want to leave a team in Tier 2 for a team in Tier 3, right? So that's probably not going to happen. So just for the hell of it, let's pick Vasily. He's not very good at designing the front wing for whatever reason. It's his white whale. But the good news is, in Tier 3, everybody gets the same front and rear wing. Those are spec parts. You can't design your own. You have to use the one the league gives to you. So we will be making our own brakes, engine, gearbox, and suspension, but we don't care that he's not very good at the front wing. So for us, he's actually better than a 3-star. Let's approach him and see. He's interested, so we get to negotiate with him. Now, the other thing to know about a designer is that they know certain components that other designers don't know, certain tricks of the trade. And when you get a designer, you're not just getting their ability to craft decent engines, but these specialty parts. So, for example, you could add this specialty part to anything that he makes so that performance goes up and reliability goes a little down anytime the car is driving on wet tires or intermediate tires. That's kind of not a great one, but that's good. That one's okay, actually. That's pretty okay. Actually, no, it's not, isn't it? That's weird. That's a weird one. All right. Anyway, those aren't super important for us right now. We would care deeply about those if we had the money to spend on a designer, because those can make a big difference. So now we're in the contract negotiation minigame. So we see his expectations over here on the right, and we have to figure out what we think that'll translate into. So the lowest we can offer somebody of his stature here is about $50,000 per race, and the highest it'll allow us to offer is about $150,000 per race. So let's go somewhere towards the middle. We just want this to be quick. We need to get him designing parts for us as fast as possible. So I'm going to give him a little bit more than halfway between the two. He prefers a long contract. I'm okay with that. We're not going to hire a new designer next year probably. We'll stick with the 2-year contract here. And then... Actually, that's a 3-year contract, huh? Yeah, let's do a 2-year contract. End of 2017. Now, he also wants a signing fee. And he doesn't care about the bonus size, but he wants the bonus. So let's give him a decent signing fee. And we'll give him a so-so bonus, and we'll see what happens. Now, what this means is the patience value, he has 4 spots for patience. So depending on how far we are off from what he is willing to work for, we'll fill up some of these X's. And when we fill up all of the X's, we get one more chance to try to win him over. And if we lowball him again, he just will walk away from the negotiation. So it takes a couple of weeks where I send him a thing, he thinks about it, he gets back to me and says, that's okay, but 2 X's. And then I have to go higher. Or he might say 4 X's, one more chance, buddy. Some of them have less patience than others, which means that they're harder to negotiate with. Oh, the dog's leaving. Okay. Do you want to leave? Okay. Go ahead. So unprofessional. All right. So we're going to go with this. We're going to hit continue and send him the proposal and see what happens. So that's the designer. We're going to do the same thing with the mechanics. We're going to look for a mechanic that's not currently in. Oh my, this guy's fantastic and he's got huge potential. And when it comes to mechanics, the reliability and performance numbers are pretty damn important. And so are part fixes. Part fixing, if you ever have to fix a part mid-race, it takes the longest out of anything that you do in a pit stop. So this is the number representing how fast their pit stops are just for normal, like changing out tires, refueling the car, and getting it going. This is specifically fixing damaged parts, and that takes so long. That can add like 30 seconds to your pit stop. It's insane. Let's see. Oh, mistakes. Yeah, so this is good. So this guy's really good. I want this guy on my team. And he's also doesn't have a team right now, and he has the potential to get even better. The max weekend offer is $72,000 per race. Let's drop that down to 62. He wants a medium contract. We'll give him a medium contract. He'd like a nice signing bonus. Let's give him 60. And we'll give him 18,000. I don't expect that we're going to make 10th or above in it, because the race is 20 races. 20 racers, I should say. So we're going to send him, and then we need another mechanic for our other car. Go back to staff. We're going to scout another mechanic, because the mechanics we have are actually reserve mechanics. These are, if you have no other mechanic, you get this one, right? They can't ever improve. You just get a generic. See, it says 0.85%, but the progress is 0. They can't improve because they're a replacement mechanic. They're just one of the pit crew that's been promoted, and they're like, I don't know what I'm doing. So that's why we need to scout new mechanics. So we already sent one to Kevin Sewell. Let's see if we can't find another one in this list that isn't currently occupied. Okay. Trevor Clark. Not quite as good, but then we can probably pay them less. They're interested. So, wages are important. Let's do 33,000 per race and see if that's enough. Now he's only got 2 patients. Let's do 36, because I think, what's the max? 46. Let's start with 36 as a place. They'd like a nice signing fee, and you can see these numbers actually scale to how many stars they are, I believe. So the minimum and maximum are much smaller on not very good people, so that you don't have to do that math yourself. So let's see about that, and we'll see what we get. So now we've got some proposals out there for new staff. Next, we'll take a look at our HQ. And this is stuff, I'm only doing this much stuff at the very beginning. The first thing I think we'll want to do is upgrade our factory. We only start with a factory, which, helps you build the car and develop the parts. And we start with a design center that helps you develop the parts. So factory improves the parts, rather. The design center builds the parts from scratch. Now, upgrading the design center gives us access to a bunch of other things, but I think we actually just want to upgrade the factory right now and save our money. Actually, no. I think we do want to upgrade. Oh god, look at that. 8 million disappeared. I think we do want to upgrade the design center too, because it takes a long time and we're going to want it later, because it unlocks a bunch of other buildings. And the reason I say that is because even though we only have 7 million right now, we're going to go to the sponsors tab. There's none available. They will come in, though. They're coming. And one thing we were looking at earlier, team. There's the team. Marketability. Do you remember one of our drivers is a narcissist? And that's actually good, because the marketability goes up for a narcissist They can sell themselves better, and sponsors love it when a driver gets attention because it means people see their branding more, right? So that means that our marketability is at 35.7%, and I think it actually goes up a little bit once we tick forward in time. So we'll get better sponsors because we have that guy on the team. And the more you win, the more your marketability goes up as well. So next, we're going to start designing a new part, even though we don't have a good designer just yet. Just because we need something. Actually, parts cost a lot of money. Let's not design parts until we get a new one. We start with one basic, very basic part for each car. So you can see here, we've got the two cars, Gomez's car, and Anthony's car. And they're just assigned the different parts. When we make new parts, we'll have, a third engine in here that will have better stats. This is the performance. You can see the spec parts have 150 performance. Everybody uses the same front wing. Everybody gets 150 performance and 80% reliability. Those are decent numbers. Everything else we have is crap. So we have to fix that by improving them. Specifically, reliability is very important. It looks like we've got decent reliability on these starting parts, but unfortunately, they're terrible. All of them are terrible. So we're going to probably start by improving our engines. I think that, generally speaking, has the strongest effect. And let's see, anything under 65, anything under 70 should probably be improved in terms of reliability as well. So let's improve the reliability of these two parts. So we can now decide how much we want to favor one or the other. If we don't have that much to worry about reliability-wise, like I said, if it's over 65, you're okay, then I guess we'll try to lean a little bit on performance improvements. So what happens is this 1.6 is going to get split amongst all the parts that we have getting improved. We have two parts, so each of these are going to gain 0.8 performance per day until they hit their max, which it's telling me right now they'll hit their max 29 minutes after the next race. So let's go one more. Now they'll hit their max one day before the next race. Another thing we can take a look at is the next race is on the Black Sea track, and the things about this track, what make it very the most important, crucial pieces of your car are top speed, acceleration, and high speed cornering. And what that means is you need the engine, the gearbox, and the rear wing are going to factor in more to whether you win or lose on this track. And it's because this track has a lot of long straightaways to take advantage of the top speed, but there are also a bunch of corners that you have to slow way down for and accelerate again. But there are also a lot of these gentle corners that are like high-speed corners, and the rear wing has the most impact on those. So that can be very useful to figure out, oh, we should prioritize improving the engine and the gearbox for the next, because we have a spec wing. It also tells us how many laps it's going to be, what we expect for fuel burn and tire wear. Those can matter. This can all matter here, but that's important to know, and we are already on the right track with improving those parts. So now we're just going to tick forward time. Oh, we read that one. We're good. Here we go. So you can see any events that are coming up, the orange ones will automatically stop. So the orange one was, so we had one more like media thing coming in to tell us, hey, this other racer is reaching the end of his career. You'll care more about these when you get to know the other drivers that are happening in what's going on, and like, oh, that guy's finally getting out of there. He's always beating me or whatever. But let's talk to this guy. This is our master mechanic. He didn't outright refuse, but this is our last chance to make him happy. And he's not happy with the wages or anything else. He's actually angry about the sign-on fee. Okay. What's the max? 150. Let's go one below. And he wants a bonus per race. Okay. We're going to go one below, two below. And we'll go one below the top. I think he's got to be happy with this. This is a big improvement over what it was before. Let's give him a bigger signing bonus because we don't have to worry about that costing us per race. So we'll see if that helps. We'll hit continue and go to the next. Here's the next contract proposal. And we have an interview request. These will pop up every once in a while, and these mainly affect the morale of your drivers and the morale of your chairman. The morale of the chairman matters because if he gets mad at you and you keep losing and you keep saying stuff that's bad about him, like reflects poorly on him and the team, he might just fire your ass. So let's accept the interview and see what we can do. Certainly picked a tough task for your first job. Are you expecting to pick up many points all this season? I'm going to tell them we're confident and see, that makes our drivers happier. When the drivers are happier, they drive better. Keep that in mind. Gomez is seen as your top driver. Do you agree with that, or do you say that Faith Anthony is better? If I say Andre Gomez is definitely the best driver, he's going to gain morale and she's going to lose it, I'm sure. If I say that, it's the same thing. I'm going to say this, and they probably both gain a little bit, or at least they don't lose anything. I don't know what this will do. That might make the narcissist happy, but I'm going to go with this one. Yeah, they both gained a little morale. Okay. You're expected to finish 10th in the championship. Do you think you can do better? I hope we're going to surprise you is what I'll say, which does nothing, actually. The other one might have made the chairman happy, but it would have made it harder for us in the end financially, I think. We all remember your time as a fan favorite racer, because that's the backstory I chose. How are you going to transfer your skills to the management? I could be super cocky, or I can just be like, we got this under control. Or it's like, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm going to click this one just because I want to see. This doesn't seem like it could be good for us at all. It has to be like a troll, right? If I click this, bad stuff happens. Oh, okay. No, nothing happened. Fair enough. Okay. Good news. That's, is that our designer or, yeah, I think that's our designer. So he wants to sign. Contract agreed. We have 8 days to definitely sign it. So if we started negotiating with multiple designers, for example, that would be some wiggle room. So we're going to do this immediately. We're going to replace our replacement designer. She doesn't care. She's fine. Costs us this much up front for the signing bonus. And now we have a real designer. And he comes along with his special parts, but let's start taking advantage of that immediately. So, the things that design the fastest are brakes and suspension, I think, but engines and gearboxes are the most important. So, let's start with brakes and suspension, because those will actually have an impact. Let's take a look. Do brakes and suspension become crucial at any point in the next couple races? Let's look. Suspension, yes, because of medium speed corners on this race. Brakes, yes. No. No. Yes to both. Okay, so if we design brakes and suspension, up through August, those will be very helpful to us. And here's more suspension, more brakes. Okay, so just based on the tracks that are coming up and the fact that we can design them quickly, let's get brakes and suspension. Because we're not going to have the engines and the gearboxes done in time. It just takes too long. So, when you're designing parts, you only get access to slot 1 at the very beginning of the season. Because that's just your tweaking stuff. This is how far you've gotten in terms of improvement. After you've made a brake design, then you get access to slot 2. After you've made a brake design with slot 1 and slot 2, you can see here's some of the stuff that comes in slot 2, then you'll get access to slot 3 if you've built the appropriate building that allows you to properly build a more complicated brake part. So this one is locked, and I don't remember exactly. There's a specific building type that lets you test brakes in a special way that lets you unlock slot 3, then probably another brake building that unlocks slot 4, upgrade to that building, something like that gets you slot 5, whatever. So what's interesting is this, right? So let's look at our current brakes. Nope, that's not what we want. We want to go to car. Our current brakes have a maximum performance of 7 and 14 respectively. And currently they're 1 and 2. They're terrible. However, they got decent reliability, but the maximum reliability is actually 100%. Oh, okay. So Now let's design new brakes and see where that performance improvement goes. So, tire wear efficiency, reliability, or red zone. So the red zone is when a part begins to fail in leaps and bounds. So the reduction to red zone is actually really good. And this is interesting too. Okay, because none of these parts actually improve performance. You remember we looked at the other one, it was 1 of 14, and it was like 2 of 15 or something like that. We're starting, before we even add any parts, this designer can design better brakes because they add their brake stat, that 11, to our current best brakes. So that gets +2 from base and 11 from the designer. So the best brakes we have right now is 2. The designer adds his 11 to that 2, and so the brand new part that they make is 13, and it maxes out 11 better than the max of that our current part that we have. So that's kind of where we start. Then we get to add these extra modifiers. And to be honest, I'm not really impressed. Improved tire wear efficiency is actually not bad. You can stay out on the track longer, and you've got... We're gonna do something interesting. We're gonna... Oh, this isn't useful because we can't add good parts yet. So let's start with this part. Right here. We're gonna go with the red zone -10. No, you know what? Reliability. Because this thing starts the reliability of 40%. I think all new parts do. And you have to improve it to get its reliability up. 40 is way too low. You can't race on 40. You can kind of race on 55. So let's do that. And then the next part we make, we'll be able to add these good parts that really increase your performance. Of course, it costs to make these parts. Look at that, $500,000 damn dollars. Now, is that this part costs? $50,000, just $500,000 just for the base part, and then $50,000 for adding the extra reliability. Okay, but they're working on it. It'll take 5 days. In the meantime, we're not going to improve these brakes because we're making brand new ones. So doing what we're doing here seems to continue to make sense. What other mail did we have? A little media thing saying, oh, hey, the new designer for blah, blah, blah is this guy. All right, continue. So we've got another contract proposal coming up here. This is our other mechanic. They weren't happy about the wages. Let's bump it up 2, because this is on our final chance, so let's try to keep it so it's not huge. Yeah, let's go with that. And then, we've got our first sponsors. So, currently the best sponsors that we can get are 2-star, because of our marketability. And the marketability is based on the team as well as the 2 drivers. So when we start winning races, our team marketability goes up. The higher, no, we don't have to win, but we just place higher than last place. Team marketability generally tends to go up. And the overall marketability is the average, so that determines what gets us these sponsors. Then the sponsors on the right will pay us a fixed flat amount, either upfront or per race. So we have to put this brand, it's only a level 1 sponsor, and we're only getting $500,000 from them, and the contract is for 8 races in a row? That's no good. Okay. 11 races for 3 times as much, that's better. That's Bango Barbecue. Everybody knows Bango Barbecue, of course. And it's 2-star, so that's a better deal for us. After 11 races, we can sign a new sponsor and get some more money. But this is an extra 1.5 mil. We'll take it. And now we've got sponsors on the left-hand side that will pay you a bonus if you get into a certain position. So if either of my drivers get into 11th or higher, Deutsche Air will pay us $300,000 at the end of the race every time we do that. Or we can get almost $1 million straight up front, plus $200,000 when we go 13th or higher. I think Golden Tiger is going to be the one we want. Even though the deal length is longer, we've got a better chance of getting in 13th. I don't know that we've got a chance of getting in 11th just yet. And getting that 900 up front, really good. We've got more slots for more sponsors that can roll in as time goes by. Alright, the brake design is done. So let's go to the car, and let's take a look at it. We can fit the parts to the cars. How long until the next race? 4 days. So the question is, can we improve the brake's reliability to 60% or so in those 4 days? We might very well be able to. If we get rid of both of these and just work on this one, that means all that we're doing here is going to go to this target instead of split between two. Then we do this. Now this says completion 36 days after the race, but that's getting it to 100%. We really just want an extra 10% or so. So here's 2.4% times 4 days. That'll get us to where we need to be. Meanwhile, we're still slightly improving these over here. But to be honest, improving these over here, I'm going to be replacing those with better parts too. So improving them is not great. So let's even go just max this out. Just improve the reliability of this new part so that it's at least up to snuff. We've also got some new mail. Here's the report on the first race that we're going to be in. Yeah, it's been, what, 44 minutes and we haven't raced yet. So probably a failing on my part, but I tend to over-explain things. So 30-lap race, 2.6 miles. Likely to do some rain. That could matter. Without too many chances of cars to get to full speed, the track favors acceleration. It tells us who has the best gearbox right now, and some other things. Then this is our lead designer saying, hey, we need more stuff in our HQ so I can make better parts. I have to tell him, go jump in a lake, buddy. We don't have the money for that until at least next season. She's here to tell us, here's what happened. We finished these brakes. Now, in the beginning, we need them designing all the time. We need a new thing all the time. So let's design brand new brakes here. This time, we've unlocked good parts. And so what I think this guy's coolest feature is if we don't like any of these average parts, we can just take this, which makes it take a little longer to build, but it lets us use 2 good parts. That's pretty awesome. So, let's see. We've got a couple of options. This one is a risky one, because risk level +1. This one, we're kind of breaking the rules of the sport. Like, there are certain rules about how you can construct your brakes, and this one gets really good performance, but we're breaking a rule. And after each race, the referee comes over and inspects the car, and if they find out that we've broken a rule, we get a big penalty to our position. Like, we basically come in last place automatically for all intents and purposes, in most cases, as far as I can tell. And we also usually get a monetary fine, I think. So that one has a huge boost to the performance, but it comes at this risk of maybe it won't work out for you. Whereas this one comes in a great benefit in terms of performance, but our reliability starts way lower. And we have to get much, much higher on the reliability before we can ever use this part. But eventually it would be really good. And this isn't just that. His special part here is not great. Okay, you get a boost, but then, like, it's only on wet and inters. I don't like it. Whereas this one, the negative is that it costs longer to build, but you get +15 to max and +20%. That's great. So I wish I could use this twice, because I do have this other slot. I think this is a good combo, though. This is one that's going to take us a long time to actually be put on our car, because we'll have to improve the reliability. But when we do, it's going to be real good. So let's go with this. We'll build a very good part, and then next year we'll improve on it. Okay, so they're working on that. These guys are still working on the reliability of that other part. And actually, I'm going to add that part that we made earlier. We've got some new sponsors here. At least 2-star. Yeah, this guy can go jump in a lake. 10 races, $1 million. Well, that's certainly better than 8 races for $5 million. We'll take it. And you can see that immediately, like, you can see we've got Golden Tiger Bank, Bango. Like, our car's already being despoiled. by this. Oh no. Oh, no, no, no. We're not coming in second anytime soon. This is just going to take up a slot and do nothing. Okay. What about this slot? 9th or above is a possibility. And we get a cool $750,000. Let's wait and see what other options come into that slot later. All right. Let's get to the race. Oh, we also have the contract proposal. Damn it. We didn't get our mechanic. I should have given him a little more. Well, fine, then I'm retracting your offer. Yeah, he won't let us try again. Okay. Well, we need to find another new mechanic. The other one is still considering. Trevor Clark, we already did them. Did we do Becky? Oh, no, but she's good. Look. She's got 4.5 potential. Her chemistry is weak, so chemistry is when the driver and the mechanic race together, they gain relationship, and when they get to a certain spot, it unlocks special things that you can apply during the race. So let's see if we can get Becky, because she's not good with the drivers, and I'm just going to give her a nice high potential right at the start, because we need to get one ASAP. And we hopefully will only have to negotiate one more time, or maybe even less. Here comes the chairman coming in. I'm extremely concerned about your finances. There's still a long way to go, and you don't have a lot of money. Let's see what they're saying here. I see what he's saying. That's because we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 races. Each race is going to cost us $1.5 million, and we only have $9 million. That does look like a problem. I'm not gonna lie. The good news is that we still have a slot for a sponsor that could add another couple of million. So yeah, and we could still get a $750,000 from here, and we could still get, you know, well, the Golden Tiger might pay us $200,000 a race if we can get good position. But let's see what the situation is when we actually get to the race. All right. Bingo. Okay, so we are here. Excellent. We got the mechanic before the race, which is important because now his stats can actually affect it. Now we're just going to pay out more freaking money. Oh, there goes more money. Oh, hang on. We got a new sponsor. New possible offer. 5th or above. I mean, that's a really good deal if we could actually come in 5th place. I'm not confident of it. We're not going to do that. We'll wait for more sponsors. So now we get to the actual race itself. We're traveling to the Black Sea track. And the only sponsor that we've signed so far that will pay us per race is Golden Tiger. So if we can come in 13th, then that will lower our costs per race. And you can see the breakdown here. The pit crew costs this much. It costs us a flat $70,000 just to travel to each race. Every building we have in the HQ and the staff that we have, like at the HQ, costs us money. The designer costs us whatever we negotiated for. The mechanics cost, the drivers cost, and we always set aside some money for next year's car. And you can actually change how much is being set aside for next year's car here, which this is you'll get $7 million, this is $5 million, and this is $10 million to build next year's car with. And if you have the extra cash in the season, then that's probably a good idea to set it aside. All right, so here we are. We select our sponsors. Now, we can't fit that brandest of brand new parts that we're developing, but I'm okay with the reliability of that one new part. So let's switch this around. Let's give Andre Gomez the new good part. That's a 13 deceleration instead of the 2. He's also got the better engine and the slightly better gearbox, and they've got the same suspension, basically. All right, so Andre Gomez is probably going to be our best bet, but he's got a crap car. They've both got crap cars. It's going to take us at least a couple races to build some new parts. By the end of this, all of our parts will probably be up by 30, 40, or 50 instead of the 1 or 2 that they're at right now. So the first thing that happens when you actually get to race day is there's a practice round, so the drivers can get to know the track, and you can specifically customize your car for this track. Cars are customized, for tracks that have a lot of straightaways. They'll have less downforce and different gearing that focuses on top speed instead of acceleration. So that's what we're going to do right now. We're going to select our 2 drivers. Now, Jose Domingo is our backup driver. If you recall, backup drivers will lose their stats unless you have them go during practice. In addition, he's better at giving feedback on the car than Faith is. So we're going to have Andre and Jose be the drivers for this. And now we get to decide how we're going to set up our car. So, we're looking at this track here. It's got some straightaways, so top speed kind of matters, but it's got quite a lot of turns. So I'm guessing acceleration is going to be a more important thing on the speed balance. When it comes to downforce, the front wing is more important for slow corners, and the rear wing is more important for fast corners. So there's a lot of fast corners here, where they're gentle corners that you can be taking quickly. So I'm guessing the rear wing is going to probably stay right about where it is. I'm guessing the front wing is going to go down a little bit. And the green bar here is the best estimate our mechanics give us. The better mechanics give you a slightly smaller green bar to start with. This is all guesswork until we send out our drivers. I'm also guessing we're going to need slightly higher top speed than this, which, if you'll notice, when we lowered the wing angle, we got higher top speed, because less wind resistance means higher top speed. This is drag. This is basic physics. So I think we're going to start there and maybe lower the rear wing just a little bit. But I think we want a lot of rear wing because of those corners. Now, gear ratios. I'm going to increase the gear ratio a little bit to get us slightly closer to higher top speed. That's where I think that's going to be right about the sweet spot. Now we got to choose what tires we're going to practice on. If we practice on the tires, we'll get some knowledge of how they perform on the track, and we can take that into the track. It gets us better performance during the actual race. So the thing is, we know that there's a chance that it's going to be raining. So we could practice on intermediates, but we're not going to take that chance. So super soft tires are this driver specifically, due to how good they are at their tire wear and the parts on their car, they get about 8 to 10 laps off of these tires, whereas they'll get 12 to 14 off of the soft tires. I think we're going to just try to max out the super soft knowledge. So we're going to stick with that. Because super soft are better, but they're less durable. They're faster. So I'm going to do the same kind of thing here, except this car is different. It's different than the other car. And so we're going to need more downforce with this driver in this car, which is very interesting. Probably somewhere right around here. I don't think it's going to be that much downforce. And then the handling, the mechanics say you got to put it over here somewhere. So let's change these around. Yeah, tire pressure is not going to be big. The gear ratios are actually there we go. That changes handling a lot. So let's go with this and see what the drivers say when we send them out on the soft tires. Okay, it's time to take our practice. And we're zoomed into the garage for some reason. Here we go. All right, send out. We already set this up. Send out. Okay. So we can now see the car in all of its glory. This is a high-resolution model that is only visible this way because I downloaded a mod called Enhanced Graphics. The interesting thing is the game can definitely do this, no problem. But by default, it uses like a really low poly model that's not the same as the car you see in those menus when we were looking at it before. Okay, so I like to change the camera around so it's looking at the car from the bottom, so it matches what I'm seeing on the track in the top right corner here. So, what's going on? One, these guys are increasing their knowledge of the setup that we made. The suspension, the angle of the things, whatever, right? And we're also gaining knowledge of the track and the performance of the tires. So this is going to affect how well we do in the actual race. Now, if I bring them into the pit, they'll give me feedback on the setup that we set up, the stiffness, the gearing, etc. But it'll cost us time to practice to get these things up. Here we go. So Gomez is giving us some feedback and saying the handling is in a very good place. And it looks like Domingo's also liking the handling choices we've made so far. I'm going to wait till we get a little bit more setup knowledge and maybe some more feedback about what's wrong with the car before we bring them in. Oftentimes, you can just fudge it by bringing them in immediately and then tweaking it a couple of times throughout practice. But then you lose a bunch of active knowledge. And you can see everybody else is also running their practice laps right now. And the order it's putting us in is fastest lap. Because it's a practice lap. We're not actually racing yet. So we've unlocked race trim and super soft tires knowledge when it comes to this track. We'll speed this up a little bit and see if they give us any more feedback. They really like the aero setup. That's good. Let's bring in Gomez. So I told him to come into the pit. And we're going to check his setup and get his feedback directly on what he likes with the car. He's got medium knowledge. Okay, so this is what we know. We know our downforce, he doesn't like it. The setup's not great. The handling is great, though, and our speed balance is pretty good. So let's go make some changes to see if we can get that from good to great. So what this means is this balance, these changes we've made for this track with this driver, 82%. 82% as good as we could possibly make it. They make their fastest possible lap. So how do we fix this? Well, he didn't tell us anything about the downforce being too high or too low. We just know it's poor. I'm gonna guess that we need less downforce. And now, if we send him out and bring him back in, it'll probably say good or great, is my hope. I'm not going to make any other changes. We can always come back to this setup if we need to. And we're going to keep him on the same tires. So now we're sending him back out. We're going to hit super speed here. I'm going to tell him to come right back in. Okay. So Domingo's giving us more positive feedback. It looks like we nailed his car. Okay. So Gomez came back in, and the downforce is still poor. It actually got worse. So what that means is we need to start back where we were before and go in the opposite direction. He wants more downforce. That's too much, probably. I'm going to guess it's right about there. So let's send him back out and see if we can't do better than 82%. Meanwhile, we're not getting any negative feedback from Domingo. So I think we're going to get really good. Yes, look at that. He just came into the pit. He's got pretty good everything. The handling is the only thing we could touch up a little bit. So we're at 90%. We got a little lucky on that. I think the handling needs to go a little bit to the left. So let's see if we can't keep the speed balance the same while sending the handling just a touch to the left. Yeah, let's go with that and see if that little adjustment gets this up to great, and we can maybe get another 3 or 4%. So we're sending out Domingo, and we're going to tell both of them to come in immediately so that we can hopefully get one more lap, because we only got 4 minutes left. Hopefully get one more lap of feedback with these changes. Okay, he came back, and he is now loving it. It's fantastic. We got the arrow almost perfect. 95%. We're just going to send him out immediately with no changes so that he can get as much of the knowledge as possible. Super speed through here. Domingo's back. His feedback is the handling got worse. Okay, so moving the handling to the left actually made things worse. So that's important to know. So let's try moving the handling to the right a little bit. The speed balance was pretty close to where it was. Let's try this. Now, great. There's a very small excellent margin. So if this is excellent, that's perfect. If it's not excellent, then excellent probably is right on the other side of this spot where it's great. So, we're going to see if we chose correctly, hopefully. But we're going to send them out and let them run for the next 2 minutes so they can build up as much knowledge as possible. I think they're going to get to level 3. Gomez likes the handling. Gomez unlocked a new setup level. Yes, we got trim to level 3 for both our tires and our actual racing trim. Hello, Liverat 1. Alright. They both are happy. Now, the handling feels much better. I don't know if that means it's perfect. But the downforce feeling bang on, that means we did a very good job. So practice is over. They're just going into the final thing here, and then we'll find out where we stand. Did we get those extra percentages we were hoping to get? So this is just showing who had the best lap time. And look, we're near the bottom. Haha, as expected. Here we are. Everybody's getting out near the car, and we know that if we can come in 13th or above, we get an extra 200 grand. That's not nothing. So here, Faith is back in the driver's seat now. Remember, we had Jose in there just as a practice run. So now we get to use some knowledge. Knowledge of the track, which was shared with Faith. You know, on this corner, you're going to want to take it at blah, 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 so that improves our performance on the tires and on that particular thing. If we change tires, we lose this bonus, unfortunately. So now we go to the car setup, and let's take a look. So it looks like the changes we made in that final run didn't really change anything. It's 95 both ways. We didn't change anything on the final run. We just left it there. Okay, that's fine. So their setup is fine. The tire choice, we know it's a 30-lap race, and we're only going to get 8 to 10 out of the super slicks, super softs, but we get better performance out of them. So we could try to do 2 pit stops on soft tires, or 3 pit stops on super softs, which gives us better overall performance. And I think that's what we're going to try to do with this car. And if we're going to do 3 pit stops, then we don't need that much fuel. Especially because the first, very beginning of the race, you're chewing through your tires trying to fight for position. So less fuel means we get less weight, which means we get better performance. So if we start with 8 laps of fuel, we're probably going to come in, you know, tires are going to be gone in 8 laps. So 8 laps of fuel is okay. So that's where we're starting for that car. Now, if Faith is better at smoothness, she's actually worse, I think. Yeah, it was 8 to 10 on the super softs. Faith is not better at this, so she is also going to need to do 3. And let's go back here. So we did get up to 90% again. So that's interesting. Great, good, great. Great, good, great. Oh, these two were identical. We didn't actually change anything. Whoops. Oh, well. We'll leave it at 90%. That's good enough. And here's the interesting thing. It's a team game. You've only got 1 pit crew. You don't want both cars to go into the pit at the same time because one is going to be waiting on the other. So, because Faith chews through tires faster, we're going to give her less fuel. So she goes into the pit a lap earlier, and then Gomez comes in. And at the beginning, we want to use the strongest to try to get a good position off the bat. I think... Although, actually, yeah. Let's not go quite so hard on the tires. So, the main things you control during the race are these things here. It's when do you pit, and how roughly do you deal with the car, right? This is the neutral position. The more you go up in your driving style, the faster you churn through your tires. It also affects the heat of the tires. Tires that are too hot or too cold perform more poorly. So that's always a thing to keep an eye on. You could attack and wear your tires out and pit more often, or you could try to conserve and wear your tires out less and pit less often. We're going to push at the beginning because fuel burn, the engine mode, matters a lot too for your top speed and everything that goes into this. But in addition to burning more fuel faster, this also affects the condition of your car. The harder you drive your car with the engine mode, these parts will lose reliability, and if they get into the red zone, there's a chance they just fail, and then you'll have to either retire from the race or pit immediately. So we're going to stay high on both of those. So here we go. And Anthony placed slightly higher, so let's follow Anthony here through the track. Andre fell to 19th. Yeah, our car's not great, remember. So you see everybody passing us? Their cars are just better. Let's speed this up a little bit. See, so things can happen. It can start raining all of a sudden, or you'll have weird situations where somebody crashes and there's a safety car coming out. Remember, our target is 13th. So we're hoping to get into 13th. And our goal is to have Faith pit before Anthony. You don't want to be out there on tires that are less than 25-ish%. That's when your car's performance starts to drop pretty rapidly. Let's go super speed here. Just because, you know, I want to show off the rest of the game. And I've already been going for over an hour, huh? Let me just double check here. Nobody's chatting. Nope, not yet. Yeah, it's been going for an hour and 10 minutes. Saying the fuel level seems a bit low. No, we're pitting 3 times this particular time, buddy. You gotta keep going there. Push that engine. Alright, so Faith is coming around. She's only got one more lap of fuel here, so if she goes by the pit one more time, she will slow way down, and that's no good. So we're going to tell her to pit here. We're going to give her brand new Super Softs. We could fill her up, but the Super Softs we've just noticed, they're lasting... Actually, let's check. This is lap number 6. So they're lasting about 6 laps. And with 30 tires, or 30 laps rather, we'll pit at 6, 12, 18. That's not enough. But we're going to be coming out in the next thing and not going quite as aggressively on the tires. So you're going to pit after 6. We're going to give you a total of... I think 8.3 laps of fuel is a good place. And we'll do a fast pit stop. There's a 24% risk of something going wrong, but that's it. Faith Anthony is saying, I've got some worn tires. Actually, this is the super speed will warn you when certain events happening. So when you get to low fuel, when you get to low tires, etc., etc. Andre's tires are getting worn as well. He's going to pit right after this lap. So Faith just went into pit. I'm now going to set up Andre's pit so I don't forget. He's going to also go on Super Softs. He's going to also go up to 8 more laps. He doesn't need to repair any parts, so we're going to try fast. So right now you can see Faith is entering the pit lane. Now they jacked her up. Now they've got tires on. Now they do the refueling. Now, I know you've seen actual F1 where all that's done at the same time. Like, the tires are going on, the fuel's happening, they're fixing the thing, done, right? In the different series, we're in Tier 3, they have, you must do things in a specific order, and you can't do things until other things are done. As you get higher in the levels, then you can do, instead of semi-sequential, you can do sequential pit stops. So they're not allowed to fuel up the car until after they've done the tires, and they can't do the tires until they do the jacks, etc. Okay, so Anthony actually was the first, among the first ones to pit. This guy, Vananen, also went in there early. And now we're going to tell her to lay off on the tires. I'm pretty sure she's going to need to switch over to soft tires instead of super soft sometime in the near future. We're also going to lay off on the fuel a little bit. So Andre's in the pit stop. Let's see how fast his is. 2 seconds. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Come on, go! Yes! Okay, 13. Not awful. Looks like Anthony's pit stop was actually better than his. Or no, she was ahead of him going into it. So now we'll go into super speed again. 22 laps remaining. Gomez might be able to come out of this with only one more pit stop. It might be possible. No, it's probably not possible. Not the way that I set it up. Alright, so yeah, we're not meeting our sponsor objective here. We're going to need somebody else to, like, crash. Somebody in front to crash for us to catch up at this point. Our cars just aren't good enough. Faith Anthony's already got worn tires. Jesus. She's so bad at that. Gomez still has 46%. I know he pit late, but still. Telling her to go easy on him. I wanted to get one more lap out of these tires. Yeah, I think... Oh, it's too late. We just got past the pit. Okay, well, she's definitely pitting next time. And I think she's got to get the soft tires. It sucks, but that's the way it is. There'll be 16 laps remaining. She'll get one round of soft tires, and the final round she'll do soft tires, I think. Or no, it's the other way around. Let's go on soft tires here, and the final lap we'll do we'll go super softs right now. We'll go softs on the final lap. So because she wears these out real damn fast. Okay, we don't have to do any part fixing. Really, I only worry about that when it starts getting down into 30% range. But in the meantime, her current tires are just awful. Gomez is probably going to overtake her. Now, you can tell your team to allow a specific teammate through if they're stronger, if they got stronger tires, if they got a stronger car, if they're coming up and just having a better day. This number here, current form, indicates how well they're doing out of their total potential right now. So a 10 is driving perfectly for their current skills. Most of the time I see it between 5 and 7-ish. You can see Anthony's driving particularly poorly today. The little green square there means she's going into pit this round. Alright, so Gomez is going to pit, but Gomez is going to get to stay on super softs the whole time, because he's just much better at managing that. He doesn't have anything that we have to repair, so he's just going to be good. Alright. Alright, so other players, other AI, they're doing okay. I'm surprised they're... If we get out anywhere out of 19th and 20th, I'll be surprised at the end of this. Look at our team. Very competitive within themselves. But they're way behind everybody. Oh, it looks like 18 17 is pitting just now, this Tang guy, so we're going to pass them. Okay. Oh, we got to pay attention because the soft tires are underheated when I had her conserving too much. Oh, no! Oh, no, we didn't check the weather when we went to pit. We would have gone on inters. Yeah, that's going to cost us the race. Whoopsies. We're just going to keep them on softs right up until they were supposed to have it, despite the water on the track. Nope. Nope, you don't need intermediates. It's going to cost way more time to pit. Actually, that's one way to do it here. Oh, we got in. Okay, we got ahead and then we didn't. All right, Faith. When do we have? What do we have left? Okay. This is the last pit stop. Come in and get on wet tires, because it's going to keep raining. We'll be the only one running on wet tires. Everybody else is running on intermediate, and they won't have the best performance for the last couple of laps. That's our goal. There's only 8 laps remaining, so let's give them 9.5, 9.25. There we go. And you know what? I'm going to have them both pit. I know they're right next to each other. I know it's not perfect. But changing the tires is actually fairly quick. It's only going to lose one of them for 10 seconds. And maybe being on wets instead of intermediates will be a big benefit for us. Because we can see the water's just going to keep stacking up. This rain's not ending. Oh, there was a mistake because we tried it too fast. Alright, so Anthony's coming out. She's got excess fuel, so we're going to give her a higher thing here. And we're going to have her push these tires. Because these tires, I think, can take it. I think they can last for 7 laps. Let's take a quick look. 11 to 13. So yeah, they've got a lot more capability. And we're going to do the same thing for Andre. He's got excess fuel and he's got excess tires. So just push it. Uh-oh. Engine's getting a little low. If it gets to the red zone, then it starts being actually affecting us. So I'm going to lower this back down to medium. It sucks that we can't burn the extra fuel, but it's better than if the engine actually gets reduced below the red line. Okay, they've overtaken the one person that retired for mechanical issues. Good job. They're getting lapped. So there's that. And you can see this number. How close are we to the next driver? 4:21? Oh, because they passed somebody? No. That was weird. They both have parts that are looking dodgy because we haven't had time to properly improve reliability on these parts. 6 seconds behind still. Is there a chance that any people in front of me have to pit? They already went in for wets. Damn. I was hoping we could catch up a little more. Okay, there was somebody else that had to retire for mechanical difficulties. Look at that. Our team is not in last place because we didn't push our car too hard. Yet. All right, here's the deal. We got 3 laps left. Anthony's gonna push the car. We're gonna push the car. I think it's worth the risk. We're gonna stop pushing the car on Gomez, though. Gomez is a little close to that red line. If we had 1 lap left, I would push it. Yeah, I know his engine condition is low. And you know what? He's literally in last place. In order to prevent him from, you know, just, we're going to bring him into the pit, because all he has to do is finish at this point in order to get 18th place. So we don't want him to have mechanical failure. She's got warnings about her parts, but she's still got enough to make it, and she's She might catch up to Chu, who's in the pit. Let's see. No, didn't get to it in time. But it's the final lap. She can make it. Gomez is last no matter what. Not quite last, but... We're fixing the engine so that he doesn't have to retire in case he accidentally breaks down in the final lap. All right. Yeah, worn tires. She just finished the race. And she's not happy with it. It was a complete disaster, she says. All right, so the winner was Arbeloa from Eastwood Motorsport. And again, these are all made-up teams, as far as I know. But you can get the real ones. And so European Racing Series isn't real either. They made that up. And now you can get a ton of data. If you really want to pour through this and see, you know, oh, well, here's the strategy that they use is they did soft, soft, intermediate, wet on the tires. This is when they pit and blah, blah, blah. You can go to the lap charts and see this is where this went right and this went wrong. You compare it to this driver. You know, gap to leader, how close did we get, pit stop history, how fast did it take us, the commentary. You know, you can go back through the whole thing and see what the situation was. But in the end, our standing is we got 3 points and 4 points, which puts us in last place. Fantastic. Dragon Race Team is in second, and they have 14. And they didn't even place behind us. Silva only got the 2 here, but they also got 13 from this. And Eastwood Motorsport got the 1, and they got the 20. So they're way up there, even though they had somebody retire. So, all right. That's basically the game. Now we come out of the race. This is where they would check to see if we broke any rules, and if they found that we had broken rules in our parts, then at that point we would get to get a penalty to our standing. Maybe lose some points. I'm not sure exactly how it works, but now we go back to the next thing and we continue what we were doing before. We try to improve the parts, do this, do that. At the end of the 10 race season, we basically build a brand new car with parts, 2 brand new cars, with parts based on the best parts we made this season. And that is how it works. You can see that there was some morale improvement. The relationship with the manager got better, or the mechanic got better. This is our expenses, and it's still concerning me. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed that. I got it for $8. If you go to isthereanydeal.com, that'll always list the best deals you can get on games that are activated on Steam. Let me double check and see if it's still there. For $8. I think it was actually Steam itself, it was $8. Current best, yeah, Fanatical has it for $8 and Steam has it for $8, and it will be for how much longer? For less than a day. But I don't know how long Fanatical has it. So yeah, check that out. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll catch you later.